when you've been hacked the first time, your priority seems to change.
Yeah. If I, as a business owner, should try to progress the business as much as possible and invest in machine learning, blockchains, and all these new technologies to be like on the front line of development, or should I make sure that the infrastructure I have is secure and I got a good stack of programs that work and serve my needs, but in the expense of not being in the front line, kind of?
The problem is that working with a stack, as you call it, of solid applications or programs and all that is probably a very safe way to run your business, but probably also very boring.
It depends on because you can do other fun stuff in your business that is not related to IT.
Are there any fun stuff not related to IT?
See, no.
No. No, well, of course there are, but I mean, when you're doing IT stuff on the edge,
Yeah.
The way I see it anyway is that maybe you don't make any money on it, but you never waste your time. In the worst case event, you might get a little more educated than you were before.
Yeah.
What I consider as a good thing. But the problem here is it also depends on who you are and what your customers expect from you. Because with a company like Frontal IoT, we should be able to answer a question that is beyond Datafect, because people run into problems beyond Datafect, and who should they ask? Well, a lot of them has us as their first priority. When they lift up the phone or write an email and says, "What the hell should I do here?" And I think we should know. I mean, or at least be able to point people to where they could find answers to their questions. So there is an obligation to stay updated.
Yeah, for us, it's an obligation to know the lay of the land, so to speak. But if you are like a logistics supervisor and you are looking for upgrading you got a budget for IT or upgrading your business, and you want to focus on IT. Perhaps you are the CTO or something, and you know that you need to put some money into the IT infrastructure. Should you try to make your internal application to a web application, perhaps mobile web application, so that the customer can interact with you on a digital manner, or use machine learning to make quicker, better decisions? Or should you spend time on making sure that your IT infrastructure is secure so you don't get hacked and lose all your data, for instance?
Both.
Yeah. Good suggestion.
Both. Yeah, well,
I understand your answer. Let me rephrase the question then. How can you how can you make the decision or figure out what is most important for your case? Finding
Well,
new
it
ways.
depends.
Yeah.
It depends, because it seems that if you've been hacked, when you've been hacked the first time, your priority seems to change.
Yeah.
So
You realize that you have a breach or a hole in your IT. Yeah.
I think it's a difficult question, because the thing here is that security, in that sense, adds absolutely nothing to a project or to a customer. He doesn't get richer. He might avoid a catastrophe, but I mean, it shouldn't be there. We shouldn't have all these Bulgarian or whatever hackers, Russian or wherever they come from, the buggers, you know. They're not adding anything constructive to IT. So in the ideal world, we wouldn't have that problem.
Yeah.
And we would go ahead making nice new features, you know, and fantastic application, and everybody would be happy. So it's difficult to put up the question. No, it's easy enough to put up the question as you do, but I don't think maybe it's the right way to ask, because you have to have this security, and it's getting more and more important.
Yeah.
And it's evident that the focus of the hackers have changed, and they're getting better.
Yeah.
The old distinction between white hat and black hat hackers is really not making very much sense anymore. The hackers that you hear about is criminals, and you could compare them with pirates or something like that, you know.
Yeah. It's not a joke anymore. It's
No,
quite
it's a
serious for a lot of
scourge that should
businesses.
be eliminated simply.
Yeah.
And when you hear about, you know, this attack where they encrypt the files,
Yeah.
and then they attack a hospital, goddammit, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, can you get any lower than that? Well, that was just a personal remark here, but what it does say is that you can't see security. You have to think it into the IT infrastructure now. You can't just think of it as a nice to have add-on. It's a
No.
need to have.
Yeah, it has to be integrated in everything you do.
Yeah.
But then you think that, yeah, we have a private network inside the business, and we got these Windows servers that connect us to the internet, and we got a firewall. Aren't we secure enough with that so we can focus on moving forward?
Not really. And then, well, I think perhaps we are as secure as we can get, but it's probably not enough, because a lot of companies has been hacked, and I think probably thought the same, you know. So what I'm thinking of here is that you know the concept of a zero-day hack. It's a hack that exists, but nobody knows about it. And you can't be sure that there isn't one of those hacks out there.
No.
And if you don't know a hack about a hack, you know, you can't properly protect yourself against it. You have to know about the threat, you know, to be able to defend yourself.
Yeah.
So what you can do is to have a structure, IT infrastructure, that are resilient, that can be brought back to on its legs again, you know, very shortly. And this is something to do about redundancy and backups and backups and backups and more redundancy and more backups. I think that's probably what you need.
Yeah. And yeah, that reminds me of that you have to basically assume that you have already been hacked, that the hackers are already in your systems, and from that viewpoint, try to manage how would you handle your data and your systems, knowing that someone is already inside.
Yeah. There is a distinction here, I think, because when you see criminal hacking activities, then of course you have this scheme where they encrypt your files, and go for ransom. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Another thing could be industry espionage. They don't want to do anything. They want you to go on, and to never find out that they have unwelcome visitors in their server.
Yeah.
And then there are, the daft ones like the DOS attacks, which is a entirely different thing.
Tries to prevent people to access your website or your system.
Yes. The one situation where they're already in and they haven't told you, it's a nasty thing. What the hell do you do with it?
Yeah, there's only so many ways you can try to set traps inside your system to figure out if someone is moving around and doing things or reading files that they should not read. And
it might be an idea if you had a template. They had the concept called platform as a service.
Yeah.
This might be what we need here, so that you have some kind of template that you could put up a new server very quickly, because then you could say, okay, we have this virtual server here, and we let it run for 3 months, and then we make a new one and delete the old one with whatever shit that was on it, during that period. Then just like 4 times a year, you spawn a new server.
But if you have a hole in the old server, you will have the same hole in the copy for the new server.
No, because you're not copying the old server. Okay. You are using a crispy new version, for instance, of Windows. That's typically where the nasty things would be in the operating system.
So you mean instead of just running regular Windows updates, because the trespasser might already be inside the system, and if you run a Windows update, they are still in the system. You actually reinstall all the servers with new Windows and install everything from scratch.
Well, you do actually, now that I come to think of it, with the Citrix platform, you actually do something like that, because you have a image of a server, that works. Then every night you reinstall that image. Of course, then that means that database files and stuff like that would not be on those servers. But you could reinstall it. It's really, really not an annoying thing to work with if you are doing a rapid application development, because the problem is whatever you store on the server, on the hard disk on the server, will be gone the next day when they read in the backup. But that, it's something like that would perhaps be a solution.
Yeah.
Then you know that any nastiness that might have come into the server is gone again.
Yeah. Well, there the conversation had to end because Klaus had to go, and it was about time anyway. We were drifting a bit more into security than the strategy of IT investments. But if you like to hear us continue this conversation or go deeper into either security or strategy of where to invest your IT budget, then leave a comment down below or like the video. So then we know that we will do some more of these videos and get back to you. Well then, bye for now. See you next week.